welcome to Layback with Betfair. Joined by the A-team, we're back.
Hello and welcome to a big edition of Layback with Betfair. All eyes turn to South Australia this weekend as we preview a cracking Group 1 card there, which is headlined, of course, by the Group 1 Australasian Oaks and just a cracking edition of the Group 1 Sangster as well for the fillies and the mares. And the boys that are going to help me do that, we've brought back the SA guru himself, Mitch Lewis, and also the Baron of Betfair, Tom Haylock. G'day to you, Mitch Lewis.
Footy, Tom, how are you? Thanks for having me, boys. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a ripping Adelaide Carnival. They've done a lot right there in South Australia, and it's set to be super, that's for sure.
No doubt at all. And Tommy, how are you going with your South Australian form, mate? I know you've had a really nice, as you called it, day 3 of the championships, finding some big winners for us in likes of Connor Sana and others. So you must be feeling like you got a little bit of momentum up at the moment.
I've spent that much time across the border in SA of late, so I'd like to think I'm across the form, but it is a lot of eastern state horses in Adelaide, big fields. It's something that caught my eye, and I'll touch on that in a minute as well, Footy. But yeah, it's going to be a great day of racing, a big fields, competitive day, and hard to line up some form lines, but there's some horses that I think are clearly better than the rest of them that are pretty handy prices. So I look forward to dissecting it with you two.
It's just dawned on me that you're also a South Australian at heart as well, Tommy. So I am undertaking this cracking Group 1 race day with a couple of South Australians. So a little bit of local knowledge there for our layback listeners. But before we get into serious stuff, we've of course got to head to the lay bin. And as always, Tommy, you've got your Excel sheet out, and the cells are full with things that you just want to pop in the bin.
Yes, typical grumpy week. Now, obviously, Toby Green, he went to the tribunal. He got suspended a week and went to the tribunal, Footy, and he got a week. Now, I'm not putting that in the lay bin, but the journalists that say he shouldn't have braced for impact, you can't do that. I would like to see any journalist criticising Toby Green for bracing for impact to have an AFL player run at them at full speed and see what they do. Do you reckon they're going to brace? Like, seriously, if anyone's running at you, you're going to turn side on, you're going to protect yourself. You're not going to stand with your hands up in the air, taking a mark like this with an AFL. Like, come on, journalists, get realistic. Get in the absolute lay bin. The other one, I went to the footy last Thursday night, and I went to the footy, been to the footy a couple of times, but crowds leaving early. It's a constant lay bin. Now, halfway through the third quarter, St Kilda versus the Bulldogs. St Kilda didn't show up, and neither did their supporter base. They all left, and it was an utter joke. There would have been 4,000 people there come final siren. I know it's a Thursday night, but support your team. Stick around.
Geez, Tommy's off the long run here. He's got AFL in his sights. What about you, Mitchie? What have you got for us?
Yeah, so just a little interesting one I picked up yesterday. I had to do a little bit of driving down my neck of the woods went down the highway heading towards sort of that Robe area, beautiful part of the country. Now, I know it's a long weekend, and as expected, there was going to be a bit of extra traffic. But the problem that I run into was people with caravans. Now, I don't know, do you boys have caravans? Because do you get a different rule book when you get a caravan? Because that's what seems to happen. I've got my road rules, and apparently there's another set that you get when you get a caravan. Because I tell you what, I saw some things yesterday that I've never seen, and it includes being overtaken in a 40 zone because of roadworks. I didn't know that didn't matter if you had a caravan there. That was okay. And then trying to double overtake other caravans so that you're holding everybody up just to slow down again. Like it was just unbelievable. And all over the road, all over the shop, there was 3 or 4 instances. Now, you want everybody to drive safe, and that's all well and good. But, yeah, I just think over the long weekend, just pleading to a little bit of safety out there for the people with the caravans in particular, because I tell you what, I felt like I was driving, and we've seen those derbies where they go around the circuits with the caravans on the back and they're all flipping. I'm surprised I didn't find myself in one of those, because it was just unheralded yesterday on the freeway.
Where do you live, Mitch?
Mount Gambier I'm based, so I was heading up sort of north way towards Robe, and yeah, obviously, you know, this type of the weekend it was going to be quite busy, but I'd never seen anything like some of these caravans I'd seen, and it was about 150 k's where I was going to, and it was on the way back as well. Someone heading my way. Just to
Footy,
tell you what.
I can't believe this. We've got some bloke from Mount Gambier complaining about traffic. This is unheard of.
I thought it was the capital for something else in Australia, but it must be the caravan capital of Australia, Mount Gambier. So there you go. Who would have thought that? Boys,
Good times.
are you familiar with camelbacks? You know what a camelback is?
Yeah, don't you wear them up, Aaron?
So when you go for a run in the CBD, okay, we've got the likes of the Tan Track, beautiful, and every 500 meters, there is a drinking fountain. If you are going for a run around the CBD of Melbourne, you do not need to wear a camelback. You're not going to die. If you hydrate properly the night before you run, you'll be fine if you're out there for your 60 to 90 minutes. So people that think it's a good idea to pop their camelbacks on, maybe put a little electrolyte in, a little Gatorade or Powerade, just check yourself because you don't need it. There's water fountains everywhere around this city. So camelback wearers, get in the bin.
Footy, can I ask what your pre-match routine is? Do you have a pasta the night before or anything like that? You run, and how many kilometres do you run in
My
in a
pre-match routine at the moment is talking about camelbacks and the lay bin because I'm on tonight in Canberra. So no, I don't really have any superstitions or set routines or set foods because you set yourself up for failure if those routines fall through, and you travel so much and flights and all those types of things are always moved. So you just take it as it comes, Tommy.
How far do you clock in an AFL game? I assume it would be reduced now there's 4 umpires.
The volume's the same, so it's
really?
still around 14 Ks, but the intensity of the running has dropped significantly with the 4, which suits an aging Betfair layback host. So it suits me down
Plenty
to the
more
T.
time to come, mate.
When you need a drink out on the field, do you use the team's water boys?
Yeah, it depends
umpires
how.
have their
Question.
We have our own trainers.
Okay.
Some of them aren't as able-bodied as others. They're a little bit older, so you got to get out and back quick. So the young trainer
maybe
usually.
a camelback would work for you on the field because with a few wrong calls, you might get handed the wrong drink bottle from a certain team if it's gone the wrong way for a few minutes. You might want your own safe little drink here attached to yourself.
You might be onto something, Mitchy. We've already got the big communications vest on that weighs a few kilos. Why not chuck a camelback on as well with about 2 litres of Gatorade in it? Hey, boys, I'd love to talk camelbacks all day, but we've got to move on and we've got to get stuck into this Morphettville card because it's an absolute cracker. 2 Group 1s, headlined by the Sangsters, now worth $1 million, Mitch Lewis. How do you expect the track to play on one of the biggest days of racing at Morphettville?
Yeah, so a few interesting things. Obviously, we were obviously on the course proper. I believe every race through the next 3 weeks will be on the course proper. They have chop and changed that a little bit in the last few years, but keep an eye out for it. Very even track. It's been quite even in the last few sort of months. The 1,200 metres where you get the Sangster from as well, it's a little bit of a shoot start, so wider barriers aren't a huge concern. You can probably get away with that a little bit as well. What I think you want to look out for is where some of these runners are going to come into the straight. So there's been instances in the last sort of months as well where they've wanted to peel away from the inside. Now, sort of looking historical data-wise, I think 2 to 4 is probably the ideal area that you want to be. And it might just be a sort of South Australian jockey thing. So it's a bit interesting when you throw J-Mac and the likes into here where some of them might be game enough to go into the inside. But I'm just sort of keeping an eye on that. But I'm expecting that the track will be as fair as you're going to see it first day of the Group 1s here.
They seem to get wider and wider. I watch a lot of racing without taking much notice, but I watch a lot of South Australian racing. They do seem to get wider and wider throughout the day at Morphettville track course proper. They can be leaders are fine early, but just as you get on through the day, you get down the outside. Do you find that?
Yeah, it can be the tendency, and particularly condition dependent. So I would say if it was sun out and the sun's out with good 4, good 3 areas, you want to be on that inside. I think it's a little bit to do with the Canberra where if there's a little bit of sort of rain and it sort of goes towards those inside lanes, and that's why I think they tend to peel out the further into those sort of meetings they get. But yeah, if we're sun's out and sunny, I reckon inside's fine. But yeah, I'm sort of watching for them to peel out the more we get into it.
Let's look to find some winners, boys. Race 2 will kick things off. It's the Group 3 Breeders' Stakes. It's for the 2-year-olds. The fillies have had a bit of a stranglehold on this one, winning the past 5 editions. The likes of 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, See You in Heaven, and Cloudy have been the last 3 winners. Mitch, you're siding with a locally trained runner here in 𝗃𝗃𝗃 who comes through the Morphettville.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for this horse, 𝗃𝗃𝗃. Now, we saw her down the Flemington Straight during the Spring Carnival. She beat 𝗃𝗍𝗃, a very strong form line. She showed a lot of talent. She did a little bit wrong resuming in that first up run, but still stuck on for second. So I think there's a little bit about her. I think if she gets it right, she's quite good value now. Growing Empire, to me, the number 1 horse, is probably the one that I'm taking a bit of a risk on. I thought that first up win at the Valley was super. Wide barrier, 1,200 metres. Like I just said, I dismissed the wide barrier, but in a 2-year-old sense, when there's a little bit more to think about, that's when it concerns me. So I've sort of lent the way of 𝗃𝗃𝗃 just as a value point of view. I think this horse, if it can recapture that Flemington run, should be pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I'm going head-to-head with you here, Mitchy. I like number 1, Growing Empire. Promising 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, very green on debut. I like that the blinkers went on at start 2. That was in the listed Valley Pearl, and they just took luck out of the equation with Ethan Brown going forward, ridden like the best horse. I think the same goes here. Love the jockey booking of Mark Zahra going on board. So I think he can be pretty smart, Growing Empire, and add some more black type to that 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 stable. Tommy, your shouldering arms in this one?
I very interested in Growing Empire. The barrier is a little bit of concern. Zahra offsets that. Very good jockey. He's got some good rides on the day. I think he's a very good horse. Just wanted to at Flemington in the spring. I can't recall that.
It popped for something. I couldn't remember. I'm not much of a vet, so I can't tell you exactly what for. But yeah, there was an after something swab that was deemed to be disqualified for that.
Geez, Tommy getting the swabs out here on layback today as just with the investigation.
Well, I realised that he got disqualified and I actually won on that race, and it might have been the first time I've got lucky, so that was nice.
I believe that it was announced that it was going to get checked, and then the result probably was kept quietish. I think you had to read some stewards' reports to find that out. But I still think in the manner that 𝗃𝗃𝗃 won that day, I don't think the swab would have made much difference, in my opinion.
Mitch, the swab had nothing to do with the question. Tommy buried the lead there. He just wanted to somehow self-insert that he found a winner at Flemington in the spring. Come on, mate, seriously. Hey, let's move on to race 3 now. It's the Group 3 Chairman Stakes for the 3-year-olds. 2,000 metres. Red Sun Sensation won this race last year from Loco and 𝗃𝗃𝗃. Pretty sure Reece Goodwin and Nick Foot went a little high five on the Red Sun Sensation too. A little bit of self-insertion there just to level up with you, Tommy. Mitch,
you back to winner, Mitch. You want to raise in the net? Any winners you want to bring up in the last 6 months?
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I was with 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 too there. So, high five for the there that day. Good. Kicked off that Oaks Day.
Let's take a look at the chairmans here. The listed Port Adelaide Guineas is good form reference for this, with 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, Bold Soul, and 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗃 all here as well. Mitch, how you seeing this one?
Yeah, key derby lead up the chairmans. Interesting race. So I'm probably doing the anti-patriotic South Australian thing here, and I'm going to lay 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Now, I thought 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 had everything in his own favour on that win last start, took control of the race out in front, wasn't really bothered. I think he gets a different setup here. I think a horse like, sorry, I've just lost the wrong race here.
𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗃 by any chance?
No, 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗃 is going to run over the top of him. It's because it's been scratched. So that changes my thing slightly. Harvest Moon potentially goes forwards. I just think 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃's going to have to work a little bit harder here, and he was vulnerable late over the 1,800 metres last start, which is going to give 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗃 that opportunity to run over the top of him. So I like 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗃's chances heading towards the Derby, and I think he can turn the tables here today.
Yep. Tom, do you have any opinion on this? I notice you're not willing to just have a bet just yet.
No, I just thought I'd leave it to the expert, Mitch. 2,000 metre race where I don't have a good handle on him. I thought I'd let this one go.
I'm in agreement with you, Mitchie. I think 𝗀𝗺𝗪𝗲's going to be able to turn the tables here. 1,800 metres to 2,000. Just was eating into that margin late, only missed by 0.1 lengths. And he looks like he'll relish the step to 2,000 metres third up and gets Vic's best hoop in the saddle in D Lane, who's got a good record on this horse too. So I'm actually surprised he didn't come up favourite. So I'm pretty keen 𝗀𝗺𝗪𝗲 in the chairman's there.
I think they'll jump a lot closer. I think he'll nearly jump as fave. And it was just butting in. Navy King of Simon Wilds was the horse that I thought was going to pester 𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧. He has been. That's why I couldn't find him. He has been scratched. So I'm still happy to lean the way of 𝗀𝗺𝗪𝗲. Like what you said, Footy. I think he'll run over the top of him over that extra 200 metres.
Let's move on to race 4 now, which is the Group 3. It's the John Hawkes Stakes. It was formerly the 𝗏𝗂𝗧 Stakes. It's run over 1,100 metres. 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗏𝗂𝘂 won this race in 2021 for the McAvoys and returned to win for Will Savage in the 2023 edition. So it might get a name change in the future to the 𝗧𝗛𝗜𝗏𝗂𝘂 Stakes, boys. Who knows? We'll just watch this space. Tommy, are you going to have a bet yet or what?
If I'm standing up, but I would have fallen off my chair if I just looked at the run sheet here. No number one stripper.
I was waiting to cop a little bit. So, Mitch,
what's happening here? You've jumped off. No, you've broken up with it.
I'm sure Mitch Lewis tunes in every week to lay back with Betfair, but I have backed Shripper basically at every single career start except for this week. But I don't need to because we've got a couple of other panel members that are pretty keen.
Yeah, well, I'm keen on him. It's one of those cases, and there's a few races like this where best horse in race, and you see that with 102 handicap rating. There's obviously he's conceding weight to a few of these, but he's done absolutely nothing wrong, Footy, and you'd appreciate that. His Oakley Plate run, beaten 2.2, fantastic. And then his Newmarket run, beaten 3.5, is fantastic. I can't imagine many of these down the bottom here running such good races in the top echelon sprint races. He's drawn perfectly, knows the horse really well. I see no reason to jump off. I thought it was great value at $5.50, $6 at Betfair. So no reason to jump off him. I think he is the best horse in the race. I mean, 𝗃𝗏𝗏's hardly going, well beaten in a 𝗃𝗏𝗏 last start. And I'm risking like 𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗏 and What You Need. I was surprised What You Need was shorter than 𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗏. I know Flemington, different gravy here though. But Scripper for me. I think it's a nice bet, nice price.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Tommy. I thought the value of him was outstanding for what we've been able to see him do, particularly over there in Victoria. So he's heading towards a Goodwood. This will be a perfect kick-off point for him. Barrier 7, he's got options there. So I'm just sort of ditto you. I think he's going to be super ordered. I tell you, there's a very interesting horse to keep an eye on here. The 3, Master 8, first up from Hong Kong. Group 3 winner over there in Hong Kong. Trial recently at Balaclava was super as well, but I'm firm 𝗧𝗪𝗏𝗏, keeping an eye on what Master 8 might be able to do heading towards a Goodwood. He's a group winner over there in Sha Tin, so potentially he might jump out of the ground, but 𝗧𝗪𝗏𝗏 for me.
Footy, you've got to have a little mental health bet, little saver on Scripper, surely. You can't lose if Scripper wins this.
Perhaps, but I have found a little bit of a double figure shot here, boys. I'm with the 14 press down. Presented like the winner at the 400 metres last start. That was in the 𝗃𝗏𝗏 Stakes and was beaten by a classy mare in Benedetta who had his back. He got home in the second fastest last 400 of the day, ran a career peak figure in doing so. Gets in 4.5 kilos lighter than that first up run. And I think with even luck from barrier 13, looks a good 1/3 chance. You get around $10, sort of $3 for a place. So press down 1/3 in the John Hawkes or the 𝗏𝗂𝗧 Stakes or the 𝗧𝗛𝗏𝗏𝗏 Stakes, which I'm now calling it. I think it's a pretty good bet, fellas. So, Tommy, I think I will just have just a tiny saver on 𝗧𝗪𝗏𝗏 though, because more so for the fact that I can't cop the Tom Haylock's told you so. The Tommy told you so's. I can't wear
happen. That doesn't happen.
Oh, please.
That was very Reese last week, actually. I told you. I think he didn't stay.
He did, didn't he? And didn't have a lay bet or anything. Please. All right. Let's move on to. I think this is one of the more difficult races to assess on the program, which is race number 5. It's the Group 2 Tobin Bronze Stakes. It's for the 3-year-olds. 1,200 metres. Royal Merchant won the race last year from She Dances and 7 Veals. the more I look into it, the more I just want to steer clear of this race. There looks a host of winning chances. Mitch, what's your overall thoughts on the Tobin Bronze?
I'm probably keen to stay out now. I sort of thought Arkansas Kid was the one, but the barrier 16 to me is probably a big negative. It's a real concern to me where he's going to get in the run. So at this stage, I'm staying out. I'm probably keeping an eye on those first 4 races, though. If it becomes a dead set sort of leaders track, which we have seen happen before, I'm not expecting it, but it's not to say that it's impossible. I thought the Novelist potentially could get some cheap sectionals out in front, but at this stage, I'm probably staying out.
Are you laying Arkansas Kid, or was that just a joke in our chat group?
No, I'm staying out. The more I looked into it, if with even running or with any luck, I think he rates clearly on top at set weights. So, that was initial thoughts before I delved into the form. And then the further I got into it, it was just a little bit of a minefield, and I couldn't really find an edge at all in this race.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Skybird could potentially be the best horse in the race. I didn't mind what she did late, the last 50 metres first up. I think it was a genuine barrier trial. Got back, was inside runners, and given a trial, so I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. But Arkansas Kid, like, you're getting 10 points higher than the next best boy, and you're carrying set weights. He's 92 handicap rater. The Novelist is 82. I know they've still got upside, but 10 handicap rating should be getting 5 kilos more than the Novelist. And the next best down the bottom in the fillies is 87, still 5 behind. You've got Skyboard at 83, Gumdrop's at 83 handicap rating, which is 9. He's clearly the best horse, and we see this a bit throughout the day. We saw Scripper in the previous that the best horses, they could just come here and win. I'm not too concerned about the barrier. I think Zara can blend into the race okay from out there. So you've got 4 races before this to see if there is any pattern. But I'm not betting now. I'm not recommending a bet, but Arkansas Kid on top from Skyboard.
Yeah, well summed up, Tommy. I'm looking forward to seeing Skybird step 1,400 to 1,600 metres. I think she's a classy filly.
This right, yeah. I'm with you, Footy. I was looking for that at this second up run with Skybird, particularly coming over here. I had a guess that maybe they would have had a crack at a Queen of the South Stakes, which is our next race at the 1,600 metres. So I was surprised to see her turn up in that.
What is there for her, Mitch? Question without notice. Is there a good mile race for her third up, potentially, or 1,400 metre race? Do you know where she's going?
Off the top of my head, I'd have to do a bit of research for you, because there must be a 1,400 metre one that is eluding me right now on Goodwood Day that I think she'll target. And I think there's potentially a mare's one as well on that last day. I can't remember if it's 1,400 or 1,600 metres.
Boys, before we get into the quaddie legs of this Morphettville card and attack those Group 1s that I'm looking forward to sinking the teeth into, we're going to go to what caught my eye this week. And with the bull approaching, obviously the 𝗴𝗺𝗵𝗵 Carnival, unbelievable seems to be the slogan they're running this year in Victoria. I thought it'd be a good moment or good opportunity to reflect on some of our favourite moments or some of our favourite races from 𝗴𝗺𝗵𝗵 in past years. Personally, I haven't been to the 𝗴𝗺𝗵𝗵 Carnival before, so I feel like I'm a little bit of a fraud talking about it. So I'm going to throw to you boys for your favourite moments first. We'll start with you, Tommy Haylock.
Well, I'm going to be a bit of a dampener on this, but I don't have any. I just think there's a bunch of 78 handicap rated races on heavy tracks generally. It's a great experience, and you should get down there, Footy. But I don't remember it. Basically, I'm probably too hungover to remember any races either. So, no, I don't have much for you, mate. It's always good. It's always good fun, the experience up on the top of the hill. But no races or horses really stand out. One thing that does I remember is that photo of the jumper jumping, the name escapes me now, but jumping off the wrong way with the crowd and the photographer behind. That's an incredible photo. So, but no horses, no races of memory to be the latest winner I back this carnival, I reckon.
Good luck. What about you, Mitchie? Are you a jumps racing fan at all, Mitch Lewis?
Yes and no, I suppose. So I haven't been to the bull either, so I can't speak of.
What are you guys doing? Come on, come to
there.
Betfair function.
Well, no, I'll be there next week, so keep an eye out there. I'll be able to give you one. But I do have a favourite horse that I sort of fell in love with through the Mournable Carnival. 𝗴𝗏𝗧, some of his wins at the Galleywood when he looked done and dusted down the straight, just to manage to fight on and be tough. It would surprise you. He's one of my top 10 favourite horses of all time. I think he's an absolute gem, and I loved watching him every time you get to see him go over the sticks. So, I think he caught my eye at one of those Galleywood wins, probably I think it was 2022, and ever since then loved following him. So that's probably the best memory I've got from not being there, and we'll probably have to make a couple this year.
Love your work. Making memories with Mitch Lewis. There's something in that.
That's a new segment. I just want to mention something else that caught my eye, Footy, is the field size, and I mentioned it off the top. So 9 races at Morphettville. You don't see this very often, but 13, 12, 13, 15, 17, 20, 19, 14 and 12. Incredible field sizes. It's good to see competitive racing. So just something that caught my eye, Footy.
Yeah, it's if you build the meeting, they will come, I think, Tommy, and you put the prize money there and you get your scheduling right, and there's a really good feel around South Australian racing. This carnival certainly can echo that, and which is a great segue to head into race number 6, which is the Group 2 Queen of the South Stakes. It's for the fillies and mares. It's over the 1,600 metres. There's no Skybird Mitch Lewis in this race. Cast won it last year from 𝗲𝗄𝗎 Frida and Waltz on by. Tommy, you've got a little bit of a New Zealand flavour about how you're attacking this one.
Again, best horse in race. I don't think there's a couple of horses here that just aren't going as well as they probably have been in the past. But best horse in the race, you've got 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗧, who's 109 handicap rated, carrying 59 kilos. Got a few kilos on some of these, but clearly not badly off at the weights. Fantastic horse. Lap Legacies when they met in March. Lap 𝗲𝗄𝗎 𝗂𝗵𝗄𝗏 in the Peter Young in Feb. Comes off a Group 1. Wide no cover there. Weird run. Looked like it was going to tail off and drop right out of things, 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗧, but picked up again. I didn't actually mind her last 50 metres to 100 metres there. So that's a big positive. Gets James McDonald on. I just think she's the best horse in the race. I think she wins. Legacies is the map horse off a benchmark 78. Led throughout there. Gets the perfect run here, but this is a big step up. And as I've said, 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗧's lap Legacies in the past. So $5.50, $6. I thought it was huge value.
No play for you as yet, Mitch?
No, I found it super open. I'd sort of lent the way of 𝗬𝗎𝗍 on top. I thought from barrier 1, we're going to get a good run. 1,600 metres is probably as far as she wants to go. If it was a 1,400 metre race, I think it'd be right up her alley. But yeah, I thought 𝗵𝗵𝗄𝗧 rated really well in the race as well. So I was probably happy to stay out with those two being the on-top sort of plays.
Boys, I've got a lay and a back scenario here. I'm going to be backing number 2, 𝗬𝗎𝗍𝗍. I just
She's
love
out. She's out now, Footy.
Is she?
Yep.
Well, I'm not. I'm going to be laying. She must have just come out this morning, did she?
Yeah, they just realised they saw the run sheet and said they couldn't win. If you're laying her, so.
She's literally come out at 10:42. There you go. Okay, perfect. Well, we'll park that and we'll go straight to my lay, which is 𝗬𝗎𝗍 here.
You're back. Yep,
lay.
Oh, you're laying 𝗬𝗎𝗍.
I'm laying 𝗬𝗎𝗍. I was going to back 𝗬𝗎𝗍 at $13, but now I'm going to lay 𝗬𝗎𝗍, who ran second last start in the Victoria Handicap. That was at Caulfield, 1,400 metres. She was run over the top late by Here to Shock, who brought the 𝗃𝗂𝗽 Cup form to that race. So, look, she might appreciate that step up to 1,600 metres. I'm not convinced about her map, though, Mitch. I know you said she might get cushy, but she's drawn barrier 1. I think she maps awkwardly with good speed engaged in the race, obviously outside of her being in 1. So I feel that she looks a little bit skinny and perhaps the false favourite in what looks a pretty open race. So I'm certainly prepared to take on her setup. She's around $4 at the moment in a pretty good Group 2 for the fillies and mares. So 𝗬𝗎𝗍's going to be my lay there in race number 6. Let's move on, though, to the first of the Group 1s, which is race number 7, the Group 1 Australasian Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies, 2,000 metres. 𝗲𝗏𝗎 won this race last year from She's Fit and Jenny Lala. Boys, there looks like a little bit of action on the run sheet here. Mitch Lewis, will kick off with you and how you're attacking the Group 1 Australasian Oaks.
Yeah, I think the sort of lead-ups into the race are the key sort of interests for me. So Coco Sun was one that was interesting. They opted to stay in Victoria rather than come across into the Aurora Stakes, which is interesting. But my on-top selection, we haven't seen for about a month, 𝗵𝗺𝗯. But from what we saw of her at the Valley, I think this 2,000 metres is a real sort of upper alley type race. I know she's got a wide barrier, but I think if Mark Zahra can find just a little bit of cover, we can sit a sort of pair or two off. I think her turn of foot that she showed at Moonee Valley is very, very sharp. So first time up to the 2,000 metres, but I think with that little tick over trial in the middle, she's going to be primed here. I really like sort of, if we're positive and we can find the position, I think it sets up really nice for 𝗵𝗺𝗯. Just what we've seen from her being able to do over that 1,600 metres.
Can I just ask how you feel the race is going to be run? Because I'm with you. I loved her turn of foot at the Valley. That was through a very slowly run race. How does this 2,000 metres set up? Is it looking a little bit more tempo engaged here? And does that take away from her 𝗃𝗏 perhaps?
Yeah, so I think the key is going to be the start with her. So positivity for me, the 𝗲𝗏𝗏 runner should go forwards. Perhaps Infinity Imperial goes forwards as well. I think the little sort of roughie, it's not a roughie, but it's interesting to see if they go forwards with the New Zealand runner from the Waterhouse bot team, 𝗃𝗘𝗔𝗟𝗟𝗬. Perhaps.
I was waiting for someone to have a crack.
Spat it out just well enough, I'd say. Got myself out of trouble. So you would imagine from that barrier and that stable, it's going to go forwards as well. So this is where the key for 𝗵𝗺𝗯. I'm hoping if we settle forwards of midfield with a bit of cover, tracking up that speed, then we can peel into the middle of the track in race number 7 and hopefully show that turn of foot, mate.
Love it, mate. And Tommy, you're of a similar sort of thought pattern to Mitch?
𝗃𝗔𝗟𝗟𝗬 means beautiful.
Yes, it does.
You know, so there
Latin.
you go.
Is it Latin, I believe?
Oh, don't ask too many questions.
I just get called it all the time. That's the only reason I knew. Nick 𝗃𝗔𝗟𝗟𝗬 foot.
I like what Mitchie's saying about 𝗵𝗺𝗯 here. Now, I'm against the lead up here that who was it? Molly Nickers comes through. Wings of Song won that race. I'm against that lead up. Amazing Wings of Song, gone from being beaten in a benchmark 58 at Benalla to winning 6 on end. It's an incredible performance.
I backed it at Benalla and didn't back it in the next 6.
That's racing. That's quite phenomenal.
Racing.
So she's won 6 on end. She keeps winning. I'm laying her though. I'm against her. I'm against that form. I can't see anything else in that lead up beating her home because she draws perfectly and she meets them all better at the weights and she's a winner. So I'm scared of her, but I could lay everything out through that 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗏 there. Quite hard name to pronounce, but Molly Nickers ties in through 𝗵𝗺𝗯 as well. 𝗵𝗺𝗯 annihilated Molly Nickers there in Moonee Valley in March. So in the race you talked about. So I'm against that form. I love what 𝗵𝗺𝗯 did there. Looked to be chasing a long way out and then picked up late, was flying through the line. I think 2,000 metres she led 𝗵𝗺𝗯, and I think she's clearly the best horse in the race. So she ran the 4th fastest final 600 metres of the meeting there, which is a good effort over a mile. So I've got no issue with the 2,000. I think she's the best horse. I think she's on her way to some good races, and I'm happy. And she's one of my better bets in the program. Race 7, number 6, 𝗵𝗺𝗯.
Love your work. Both the boys with 𝗵𝗺𝗯 there in the Australasian Oaks. I'm steering clear of this one. I'm finding the lead ups hard to line up, and the only knock I have on 𝗵𝗺𝗯 is, does she get the same setup with Molly Nickers? She was chasing. She hated that slow tempo at the Valleys. She looks like a bit more of a grinder this preparation, doesn't she? She really hasn't come on. Anyway, move on. Let's get to what I'm calling the main event here, the Group 1 Robert Sangster Stakes, fillies and mares, 1,200 metres. You don't see too many better fillies and mares Group 1s than this, I don't reckon, fellas. And Mara and Eustace, they've had a bit of a grip on this race the last couple of years with Ruthless Dame and Snap Dancer, and they're pretty well in the market again with the likes of Estriella, who heads that up. Mitch, I'll start with you. How are you assessing the Robert Sangster?
Yeah, like you said, it's a super addition. You've got Group 1 winners in here, form lines from everywhere, all over the country, Victoria, New South Wales. So they've done a really good job to get a field like this. Now, I'm probably not at the point of laying Estriella, but I think at her current price, she's come up a little bit short. I'd want something that probably starts with a 3. I just sort of think she's going to have to take a step up. She's been impressive this prep, winning those 3 in a row, but this is another step up here now. We'll have to go to a career peak. And I know that I said the barriers can be forgiving on that shoot start, but the barrier 11 for me, you're going to have to be quick out and hold everything out as well. And I think the one that's going to get the run of the race for me is the other 𝗪𝗈 runner, 𝗧𝗛𝗎. I think Blake Shinn on barrier 2, expecting to be aggressive, put ourselves in a very prominent position and not have to worry about too much else on the outside of us. So second up here, I think it lines up pretty well for 𝗧𝗛𝗎. I think if the role barriers were reversed, I'd probably have 𝗧𝗛𝗓 on top, but I think 𝗧𝗛𝗎 gets run of the race here, and that's why I'm sort of leaning that way.
Mitch, do you know why the jockey booking? Do you know why Blake Shinn isn't on 𝗧𝗛𝗓?
No, I don't. That's something that caught my eye as well. You would have thought that, I would have kept him if I had had the options. Has he gone and picked 𝗧𝗛𝗎? That's what sort of kept my eye. He's been riding her superbly this prep, so it's a very interesting move. I'd have to dig a little bit deeper. I'm sure
no issues there, is it?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Weight,
54.5
kilos.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No.
Tommy, what are you doing?
What a race, first of all. This is a bloody brilliant race. 𝗧𝗛𝗓 map's a little bit awkward. I've got 𝗧𝗛𝗎. Blake Shinn, as good a jockey as he is, he's one of his best strengths is getting horses to jump, and 𝗧𝗛𝗎 will jump straight on the bunny and lead this from the inside, kicks up. 𝗧𝗛𝗓's got the speed to cross. Wonderful tonight. The New Zealander has a bit of speed as well. Bit of pressure up front. 𝗧𝗛𝗎𝗧 the map horse, maps perfectly off a win. I went looking for 𝗧𝗛𝗓. I do my form before looking at markets, and I had her on top, but was shocked to see her so short in the market. Ruthless Dame, obviously the stable mate, won this race last year. I think 𝗧𝗛𝗓 is a better horse. We've got 𝗧𝗛𝗓 on top, but like Mitch said, I am finding it hard to back her at such a short price. I can make cases of plenty. 𝗪𝗺𝗺𝗧 Surprise, Benedetta off a win's a good horse. Great race. 𝗧𝗛𝗓 on top, but too short to bet.
I reckon after this race, you're going to go $3 was a steal for this girl. I have such a high opinion of 𝗧𝗛𝗓.
You love her, don't you? You backed her last start.
Yeah, I've been with her this entire prep, and I'm not about to walk away from the ATM now. Her performances down the straight, the last 2 runs, have been that of a class filly. So the latest stamped her as a Group 1 winner in waiting, and a win here, I truly feel, will announce her as the most exciting sprinter in the land in what is otherwise diminishing stocks at the moment, to be fair.
Where are they all going?
Yeah, exactly right. So I suspect that she'll take care of these, and she'll win well, I hope so. 𝗧𝗛𝗓, $3. I'm happy to get involved with her, and it's just a cracking addition to the race. But I just did want to ask you, Mitchie, that was just the one slight part of my form where I'm going, well, Blake Shinn's ridden her so well, albeit down the straight. He's been able to put her into the race. Why the jump ship? But we've seen her tactically versatile too. First up at Caulfield, she was actually ridden cold and showed a devastating turn of foot, and then she was just ridden like the best horse up top down the straight. So you've got to love that, I think, about a filly that's on the up.
Just looking at his recent rides, I genuinely think he hasn't ridden 54.5 since the Doncaster.
Okay.
So maybe he got down to that weight. I don't know. That was one of 50. So even in the Adrian Knox, he carried 54 kilos and claimed to 55. So maybe it was just purely weight footy. So don't even have that as a concern.
Well, that's off.
Yeah, tinfoil hats are well and truly off, Mitch. Boys, let's get to the lay streak now, where some of us going all right in this competition. Tommy, Tommy, we might start with you for your lay this week. I'm not sure what your liability's at the moment. Did you go okay last week?
Yes. Yeah, went all right.
What was your lay last week? I forget.
Still running. I can't even remember.
That's good.
Have a look at the run sheet. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I had 2 lays. The favourite in the staying race, 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗔, had none, and Linebacker was the other one who was a good run, but probably had favours. But 𝗬𝗎𝗓𝗔 was I couldn't believe it was so short. I found it tough this week for lays. I do want to be against the winning form of Wings of Song in that lead up. So I could lay Wings of Song. I could lay Molly Nickers to place as well. Let's go Molly Nicker's place.
Okay, lay streak, Molly Nicker's the place for Tommy in the Group 1 Australasian Oaks. Mitch, your lay streak?
I don't mind that, Tommy. I think Molly Nickers is going to end up in an awkward position, so I like that one from you. 𝗧𝗛𝗧 for me is the lay. I just thought he got everything in his own favour last time and nearly got done on the line. He's going to have to take another step up, drawn out wider this time, 200 extra metres, and you're going to have 𝗃𝗺𝗯𝗃𝗧 breathing down your neck. So I'm happy to take on 𝗧𝗧 at the minute.
Yep, my lay comes in an open edition of the Queen of the South Stakes. I've got $4,197 in liability, and I'm going to be laying 𝗬𝗎𝗍, who I think maps awkwardly here, and I'm not sold by the Victoria handicap form, which is the Echuca Cup form. So I'm going to be laying 𝗬𝗎𝗍 here out to 1,600 metres in the Queen of the South Stakes, fellas. Let's just summarise some bets now, because I know, Tommy, you like to go around the grounds and you usually have something for us in Sydney. What are some of your better bets for the layback with Betfair listeners today?
Yeah, we'll start with the races with Coed. I'm pretty keen. 𝗵𝗺𝗯𝗃, best horse in race, off a dynamic Moonee Valley win. As I said, Molly Nicker's there. I also like 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗧, best horse in race again. She's coming off some Group 1 form lap legacies when they met in March and has beaten 𝗲𝗂𝗽𝗽 𝗵𝗺𝗺 easily. So race 6, number 1, 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗧. Race 7, number 6, 𝗵𝗺𝗯𝗃 are my bets, and I don't mind 𝗧𝗏. Around the grounds, I am very keen, well, not very keen, but having an each-way bet on race 1, number 11, 𝗵𝗺𝗃. This is a nice filly for Ron Quinton, who won a trial at Randwick, caught the eye, and then came out 900 metres at Newcastle and won well. The form stacked up. So the second horse won impressively yesterday, and the third horse ran second in a Wellington boot and only just got pipped there. So rise to 1,100 metres a query, but if it's up and in, or at least inside at Rose Hill, we're back to Rose Hill, barrier 2. All favours for Josh Parr. So she's of interest around $10. I reckon you'll get each way. Race 1, number 11 at Rose Hill.
Love your work. Mitch Lewis, some of your best bet this weekend or better bets?
Yeah, probably race 3, number 3 at Morphettville, 𝗃𝗺𝗯𝗃𝗧. I think he'll be very hard to beat. Gets a good setup. 𝗵𝗺𝗯𝗃, I agree as well. I think it's great value for 𝗵𝗺𝗯𝗃. And then I guess a little around the ground. I had a quick look at Caulfield. I thought race 9, number 1, hedged, short enough, but that last start run was super. I think if we can maintain that sort of level, it'd be pretty tough to beat there.
Love your work. My best bet, I'm keeping it simple, boys. Race 8, the feature on the card, Robert Sangster Stakes, number 12, 𝗬𝗛𝗓. I love her. I think she's going to stamp herself as one of the best sprinters in the land. Boys, been a lot of fun today. It's been sort of just strictly business. We've got through really strongly here, and enjoy the home carnival, Mitch Lewis and Tom, who's going back to Adelaide this week. But for the Live Golf, Tommy.
Yeah, off to Anzac Day now, and then straight from the footy to the flights, and then to Live Golf. So I can't wait. Hopefully a good weekend.
Live Golf. I want to live Haylock. You lead one of the greatest social lives of all time.
I was going to say, and then not that I'm going to just follow your itinerary everywhere and sort of stalk you, but then you'll be at 𝗃𝗺𝗃𝗃 pretty early in the week as well, wouldn't you? So it's sort of non-stop action this week for you, Tommy.
Basically straight from Adelaide, doing radio from Live Golf on Sunday morning, and then straight from Adelaide to 𝗃𝗺𝗃. So it's come see me Wednesday. I'll be absolutely cooked next Wednesday.
I might have to manage him. Take 10%. I reckon I'd be living pretty good if I was taking 10% of Haylock Holdings. Boys, all the best across the weekend. Have a cracking time at the races, and Tommy at the Bull as well. And we'll reconvene next week for a little bit more South Australian action.
Welcome to Layback with Betfair. Joined by the A-team, we're back.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.